Welcome everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is the first video on my new channel. You might know me from @mile134official or @TreyWoggy_musician. Those are my music-based channels. I'll link them down below, but now let's get to the fun stuff. I wanted to start this channel because dirt biking was is still a huge part of my life, but it was huge growing up. I mean, that's what we did all the time. Raced, traveled, rode. We were grateful enough and lucky enough to be brought up on a decent amount of acreage, and it just had a wide variety of terrain and pretty much had run of the land. So then music kind of took over, and if you know anything about my band, the name is kind of after dirt bike and stuff, so long story there. But anyways, I wanted to start another channel. I always wanted to start another channel dedicated just to dirt biking. So today I'm going to be reviewing the Buffalo Wilderness Ranch down in Arkansas. Or not really reviewing, but kind of just talking about my short time down there. It was a very cool place, very scenic, not what I thought Arkansas would be at all. It was about a 10-hour drive from where I live, and well worth it. You know, it was a pretty easy, straight drive. I actually, instead of taking my truck, I took my SUV with a really nice hitch carrier, not a rail trailer, a hitch carrier, where it mounts the foot pegs of the bike. And with this YZ125, you didn't even notice it back there, so the gas mileage is pretty good. So the Wilderness Buffalo Ranch, the trails that my group took, pretty technical. Rocks, and I mean big rocks. There's no flow on certain trails. And then with the YZ125, if you hit a rock, your whatever flow you have, going up a hill is gone. So, but there's a wide variety of skill level trails you can take. We just chose to do a lot of single track and some of the black diamond, the more difficult stuff. But there are people out there on UTVs, people out there hiking. So, and some of the scenes, some of the views you can see are pretty incredible. I'll try to drop some in. I got a little vlog and riding footage that I'm going to show after this. Before we get too far into it, I should probably give a little background so you know where this review is coming from. So I've been racing for, I did it for at least 10, I raced for at least 10 years. I've been riding since I was 12. Did well racing with District 16 Hare Scramble Series, so I'm not afraid of logs, I'm not afraid of single track. But yeah, that's where this review is coming from. Is I'm an avid off-roader. I'm not a big moto guy. I like berms. I don't like jumps and whoops. I'd rather jump off a log in the woods than hit a tabletops I'm alright with, but anything without a underlying base that you have to make sure you get over, that's sketchy. So yeah, I consider myself a BA class rider. What everybody wants to know, how did the YZ125 do? So this is a pretty much bone stock YZ125. It's a 2020. It is the motocross version. It is not the X. It's a YZ125. As you can see, it's pretty much stock. The only difference, I've got some protection pieces. There is a skid plate on here, but I just changed the oil, so I'm gonna check it next time I ride, so it's not on there. The only real big aftermarket piece I have, obviously the big tank, it's 3.2 gallons from a Cherbys, however you want to say it. And then the flex handlebars, which I swear by. So my reason for taking this, I grew up on two strokes about 2019, I switched over to four strokes. I actually have a very nicely set up KTM 350 XCF, but everybody down there was going to be on two strokes. So I'm like, I'm still going to be the odd man out because I'm on a YZ125, but I wanted to try out the 125 because it was definitely a challenge, but it was a lot of fun. So that being said, it's bone stock, it's a 125. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, but there were spots where I rode with a lot of people on, your KTM 300, your KTM 250 two strokes, your gas 300, so they had that luggability. This thing doesn't have that. You got to keep it up in the revs, and there were multiple times where going up hills, I would hit a rock and totally kill my momentum, and then I am the bottleneck for other people trying to get up the hill. So, it was fun. It's a lot of clutch work. a lot of smart line choice, which sometimes I'm not good at that. So yeah, I really enjoyed the bike though. I mean, we rode it for hours, 2 days in a row. I did for 2 days, and I wasn't sore. Surprisingly, you get thrown around quite a bit, but I wasn't sore. It's light, so I would definitely take it back there again. But just know, if anybody's taking a 125 down there, you're gonna be working a little bit. So I won't talk too much more. There's a lot that I can talk about this trip. It was a fun trip. My first riding trip in a while. You know, I grew up racing, so you always had races on the weekends. Then I've been out of racing for quite some time. You know, some here and there, if any. But most of my rides anywhere are pretty much day trips. So this was cool to be an overnight thing, for pretty far away. But just to get a different scenery, different terrain, different riding was very cool. And I'm hoping I would 100% go back there. Just make sure you have other riders with you, because you can definitely get lost there, and there are some spots pretty treacherous. I mean, you can probably get pretty hurt, so you definitely want to have some people with you. Big thing the guys were doing that I was riding with is they had Onyx off-road, and they were tracking everywhere they were going, because that park is so big. So a little bit of miscellaneous stuff. Like I said, I took my Traverse down there, my SUV. Obviously, I'd like to take my lifted truck, but the gas mileage wasn't great. But the entrance to the park is full gravel road, and it was like big rocks. So I had to be very, you know, I don't have that ground clearance with the SUV, so I had to dodge some rocks. But it was all good getting in there. You just got to go pretty slow and watch what you're doing. So another thing, here in Wisconsin, you don't have a Buc-ee's. I think we were down in Missouri, and we had to make a pit stop, and we found one, so that was cool. It was great. It was okay. I don't know if it's all the hype, but it was fine. The other thing is, First Form. We drove right by First Form HQ. That was cool, because I'm a big supporter of First Form. I like Real AF, Andy Frisella, so it was cool to go and see, drive by that. As I said, I didn't end up staying all days. I had to head back home earlier than planned, but it was a great time. I got to cross that off my bucket list. You know, traveling somewhere to ride was in kind of like my 1-year goal, maybe 5-year goal list, because it had been a while since I've traveled anywhere to ride, like a decent distance. So definitely wanted to make it happen. I had this opportunity through a friend and a fellow co-worker, fellow rider, good guy, invited me, and it was funny. I knew him pretty decent, and then I didn't know anybody else down there, and there was probably close to 20 of us, and they were all good people. I mean, if you're riding a dirt bike off-road, you're probably a good person. So no, it was a good group of people. I didn't get to talk to them all of them as much as I wanted, but yeah, with my short stay, but great people, great time. So yeah, and you know, the other thing that I wanted to do was night ride. It had been some time since I night rode, and at this park you can actually, I think they kick you out at 11, so we rode hard the first day from about 4:30, 5 o'clock till dark. I had some makeshift headlights, and then one of my buddy had an extra helmet light that we mounted on, and that was cool. I think we were out there till pretty much 10. So just a good day of ride. Like I said, the YZ125 is a great bike. For trails here around, for single track, especially around here in Wisconsin. You got the Lomi, even some of the hard pack does great. It's a little more difficult with the big rocks, but we made it happen. You'll see it in some of the footage I'm gonna post. And yeah, like I said, pretty much bone stock, tank, bars. I forgot to mention a spark arrestor on the back here, but the rest of it's all protection pieces. Yeah, so bike did well. Maybe take the 350 next time, depending on the trails, because there were some force ropes down there. So anyways, hope you enjoy the footage. It's not a lot, because I had to leave and then my GoPro died, but I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in.
They're coming. You good? Can you get through? down it. That's cool.